Good morning. Today we're going to talk about constipation. Everything I do starts with a story, so I'll tell you my story. I went away for a weekend and I thought, okay, I'm just going to eat like everybody else. I see what people eat. They have more of a meat-based diet, and then there's, maybe some chips or a potato or something like that, and then they have a little bit of vegetable on the side, or your coleslaw comes with your meal. It's like in a cup this big. I'm usually a half a plate vegetable, little bit of meat, and some grain, or whatever starch carb that you want. Well, I thought, what could happen? I'll tell you what could happen. I am so constipated. My stomach is killing me. I feel like I could explode. Constipation is one of the most frequent complaints by patients to doctors. I hear it all the time. And I hear a lot of doctors saying, eat more fruits and vegetables. Great. Eat more fruits and vegetables. That is half the story. That is half the story. So let me show you. This is fruit. This is vegetables in a glass of water. Okay. And you can see there's chunks and particulates, and it really didn't dissolve. This is called insoluble fiber. Okay. That's half the story. Insoluble fiber, it gives your body water. So it's actually a source of fluids, but it doesn't really bind a lot of the fiber into the intestinal tract, and it doesn't draw water into the intestinal tract to get things moving. So there's a combination of mostly insoluble fiber and a little bit of soluble fiber in vegetables. So fruits and vegetables are great. Don't get me wrong. You need them. They're phenomenal, but they're not the whole story for constipation. Okay. We always talk about water. Yay, yes, water is great. That will help if your body's hydrated. It can help the intestinal tract move things through. But the real big player is called insoluble fiber. So we have soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. This is insoluble fiber. Look at that goopy stuff. And you can imagine that in your intestinal tract draws in water and helps everything keep flowing through. Okay, very important. This insoluble fiber is psyllium husk. And this is just like plain old psyllium husk. It comes in a bag. I don't have the bag, but it's straight psyllium husk. Another type people may be more familiar with is the Metamucil. Same kind of thing, that slurry of insoluble fiber. Okay, and that's just your regular Metamucil you get in the drugstore. It's also psyllium husk, but it has a little bit of flavoring, and there's sugar in there, where this one has no sugar. It's just plain psyllium husk. So you can either take a supplement, which I started doing after I came back and feel like I could explode. So I'm taking the psyllium, but you can get this in your everyday food intake. And by far, if you can increase your fiber content in your diet, your constipation will be so much better. I have cured more constipation with brown rice than just about anything else. My patients come back and they hug me. They're so happy. So I'm going to move down a little bit. I'm going to show you different products, and we're going to talk about the fiber content in those products and how that might help your intestinal tract flow. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera, and I think I'm getting a little smarter. I cleaned up around my house so you can't see all the stuff laying around, and now you can just concentrate nicely on some of the things that we have here for fiber. Okay, so brown rice. I've told you about brown rice. I love brown rice. It is filled with fiber. This brown rice in a quarter cup of dry, so it makes about half a cup of actual rice that you would eat. So a quarter cup of dry is going to puff up double. There's 3 grams of fiber. The other good thing about fiber is you get to take it off your carbs. So fiber is a good part of your carbs and it doesn't get absorbed. So if this has 35 grams of carb, you get to minus the fiber of 3 grams, and you're down to 32 grams of carbs if you're carb watching. Okay. And we'll at some point talk more about carbs. You really do need about 50% carbs in your diet. So make them good carbs that are going to really help you with good health and good dietary intake. Okay, right. Good pooping. Yeah. Barley is another whole grain. This is where you're going to get those soluble fibers. Look at barley. Barley has 8 grams of fiber. I wish, and someday maybe they will, break fibers down into soluble and insoluble so that you can get a better sense of are you balancing your solubles and your insolubles? But right now it's just fiber, but all fiber is good. Okay. Quinoa is very similar, but let's compare it to just regular old white rice. Okay. White rice for exactly the same amount has only 1 gram of fiber and 36 carbs. Okay. So you're not getting any good fiber for the amount of carbs you're taking in. Okay. So white rice is something that I really love for people to kind of get rid of. Okay. Same thing with a pasta. You got to be careful with your pastas. Pastas tend to be very processed and they're down to very few carbs. Okay. So for the 38 grams of carbohydrate in a serving, you only get 1 gram of fiber. Okay. Nuts are another super source of fiber. Very healthy. I don't think we've talked about nuts very much yet. We've talked about beans, another great source of fiber, but nuts and beans together, if you could eat mostly nuts and beans for your protein sources, wow, you're really getting into some healthy food there. Okay. Obviously, fruits and vegetables, always very good. These are mostly insoluble fibers. There's a little bit of soluble. The combination is really, really key for moving the intestinal contents through. Okay. Avocados are great. There's my avocado. They have a good balance. Actually, they're about split 50-50 with soluble and insoluble fibers. Okay. Breads can be another source of healthy fiber, or they cannot. Okay. So these crackers, my husband has celiac, so they have to be gluten-free. This is tapioca starch, potato flakes. Like, this is not particularly healthy. And you can see there is 0 fiber. Now you compare and contrast that to a multi-grain ciabatta bun, where you have a rice flour, you have cornstarch, buckwheat flour. Buckwheat flour is amazing. Buckwheat flour, if you are diabetic, it's one of the flours that really does not spike your sugar at all. It's really low in the glycemic index. So if you can do buckwheat flours, we'll have a scone recipe coming up pretty soon that will talk more about buckwheat. So you're going to get you're going to get 27 grams of carbs, but 6 grams of fiber, way better than your 0 fiber over in your crackers. Okay. And come back to me. How do you manage that? When you go to the store, you want to be looking at your labels. Okay. Look at your food labels, look for fiber. So if you have a choice of one cereal that has very low fiber and another cereal that has very high fiber, go with the high fiber cereal. You're getting a more quality product for your money than the low fiber. It's just a better source of good carbohydrates. Okay. So I have started with my my slurry of insoluble fiber, and I'm already starting to go a little bit I know this is a chronic issue for a lot of people. I am glad it is not a chronic issue for me. I think if you add some of these food components, or even the Metamucil, that type of thing, into your diet, it will really help alleviate a lot of the constipation. Constipation is a place where an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I will go to the drugstore and come up with some products that you can use if you do get constipated, and compare and contrast them. And that will be in a separate video. So for now, do some prevention. Over the long haul, you're going to feel a lot better. And man, I can't wait to feel better. Happy pooping.